Hi, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of None of Your Business podcast. And we were wondering what we will be speaking today, and that's when we happened to see the Spider Man new trailer in YouTube. It is Spider Man No Way From Home, and it is now currently the most watched movie trailer in 24 hours on YouTube. And speaking about Spider Man, we have had a lot of superhero movies coming out from maybe the start of the millennium. And the one or two main houses which bring out these movies and which are more common among the people are Marvel and DC Comics. Now, Spider Man, Avengers, Iron Man, it all started. I think Iron Man, if I'm right, Iron Man is the one of the initial movies from Marvel which brought it to a blockbuster fame. But what is Marvel? The Marvel Cinematic Universe, which it's so fondly called right now, the MCU, the movie franchise for which people wait anticipating, just waiting for that movies to release, and they release the movie schedules all the way till 2023 in the current process. So, who is this Marvel? What is this Marvel Cinematic Universe which people are all so hyped about?
Yeah. So Marvel's first name was actually Timely Comics, and they started with comic books. So the title of their first comic book was Marvel Comics Number One, and this was released in 1939, which is really, really long, like back. So the company continued to release comics under the Marvel name through the 1940s and 50s. Um, in the early 1960s, Timely Comics changed its name to Marvel Comics. For several decades, Marvel and DC were the top companies in the industry. Throughout the 1980s and 90s, Marvel changed hands numerous times, and because of questionable management decisions and a general slump in sales in the comic book industry, Marvel Comics went into bankruptcy in 1996. Luckily, the company emerged from bankruptcy 2 years later and began to diversify its output, launching imprints aimed at a variety of demographics and expanding its cinematic offerings under the Marvel Studios banner. In 2007, Marvel began to publish digital comics. Um, which are movies, and in 2009, the Walt Disney Company purchased the parent company of Marvel. Marvel has so far produced 24 films and over 32,000 publications, and I find that crazy.
Wow, that's Marvel. The Marvel Cinematic Universe, the one which started all the way in 2008 with their first MCU film, which is Iron Man, that was a bet, that was a gamble, because no one knew how it would. But that laid the foundation for building an empire. If I'm right, Iron Man started in 2008, which began the films of Phase 1, as they call it, and culminated in the Avengers in 2012. Phase 2 began with Iron Man 3 in 2013 and concluded with Ant Man in 2015. Phase 3 began with Captain America Civil War 2016 and concluded with Spider Man Far From Home 2019. And now we have the film of the Phase 4 beginning with Black Widow in 2021, which was recently released in India. So, with so many movies coming out, what is the Marvel Cinematic Universe? How are they getting their money? What is the each movie? They have, I guess, around 24, 25 movies. How do they make their money in this? And that's something which I've been really curious about.
Yeah, so there's a lot of ways Marvel makes money, and one of it is like by the customers. What is what do you call it? The movie enthusiasts and other people who watch the movie and allows Marvel. So MCU has come a long way from where it began, and it is now like producing TV shows and etc. We have Loki, and then we have Agents of Shield, which is available in various platforms and etc. And it has come a long way. Like if you look at the block collection record of Avengers Endgame, it is around 1.3 $3 billion, so it is pretty high. And when in 2009, when the Walt Disney purchased Marvel, they had a deal of $4 billion. So yeah, it is a pretty good deal what Disney signed up for.
Well, that's interesting. So Disney is also into this, and that's business. You are with those who win. Now, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, with our pandemic, we are all stuck inside our houses, into the four walls. And I'm pretty sure they would have had a really good time. As Advaith pointed out, you have a lot of TV shows coming in. It was only movies earlier. Right now, they have moved towards TV series with WandaVision, Loki, and others coming in like Hawkeye, and you had the Captain America and the Winter Soldier. So when all these are coming in, and you have a CEO or a president like Kevin Feige, a person who is so involved with the movies, how does it help? And how has the pandemic, in fact, turned to Marvel? Has it brought them down? Has it brought them up? What about that? It was Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So sorry, I said earlier it's Captain America and the Winter Soldier. It turned that towards the end, but the beginning it was Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Yeah, corrections for that.
All right, so now it only takes common sense to realize that the movie and entertainment industry has definitely taken a hit due to the COVID pandemic. Something about people cannot be seated in an enclosed space with air conditioning when there's a virus around, but we'll leave that to the experts. So, Marvel, as we know it, has very careful planning on the release dates of their movies and where they fit in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which you should know is the highest grossing movie franchise of all time, which means that the stakes are higher for them. Marvel has had to delay multiple movies several times over the past year. Release dates for movies like Black Widow and The Eternals have been pushed around a lot of times, and this, unsurprisingly, has had negative repercussions for Marvel. Though they were able to keep up the hype for their movies with some brilliant advertising. Now, things recently were looking up as the majority of population in advanced countries have been vaccinated, but this was until the Delta variant came along and disrupted plans further. Even with the emergence of the Delta variant, Marvel still plans to continue releasing their movies as long as the theaters remain open.
Wow. So Marvel's business strategy is something which is really worth looking at. They fit in using people's psychology. They fit in looking when and where they can get in the maximum profits, where they can get in and ensure that people enjoy what they're bringing in. And we can only imagine that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going to rise and rise, and we have a lot of it coming in Phase 4 with the multiverse being open, which brings endless possibilities. And so that's about it for today's show. We just touched upon Marvel, and we had three wonderful panelists. Just maybe a guess as to who they were listening to our previous podcasts. If you didn't, we had Navamita, a grade 10 student, and we had Advaith and Josh, grade 11 students from Devamatha CMI International School. They were kind enough to be here today to share their views on Marvel. As in the Avengers, just to borrow their line, as Nick Fury said there was an idea to bring together a group of remarkable people to see if we could become something more. And this podcast shares that same belief, bringing together remarkable students, remarkable people to see what more we could achieve for mankind. So, with those words, signing off, take care, be safe, and see you next time. This is Joel. Have a great day.